and my mother is a homemaker. Uh, I have pursued my graduation in mathematics from Rohilkhand University, Bareilly, and my schooling was from Hind Inter College, Sambhal. My hobbies are playing football and uh, traveling. Traveling cities, which is famous for its history. I have learned many things from football and traveling. In future, I want to be a bridge between local manufacturers of my city, Moradabad, to international buyers. I want to be bridge between them.
Okay. What have been your achievements till date?
Sir, there is no one in my family uh, who is graduate till now, but I am graduated in science, and today I am in this class in Aligarh Muslim University. I think this is my achievement.
Very good. Okay, so now we move on to Farhan.
So Farhan has not joined the class.
Okay. And Faraz Salman Khairi.
Sir Salman, I don't see him in the class either.
Okay. Let us
Sir,
listen to
sir he's joining now. Firas is
let us
joining.
listen to Saurabh then first.
Okay, sir.
Saurabh, are you
Right.
there?
Sir, I don't see Saurabh in the class. Salman, have you joined? Salman, kindly respond. Firas Salman.
Yes, ma'am.
Salman, you were supposed to join 8:50. You were supposed to present your introduction today.
Yes, sorry, ma'am. I got a bit late. Actually, the our last class we were covering accounts with Javed sir.
Okay, okay.
What?
Now you've turned on your camera and please start the introduction.
Okay.
Kindly start, Salman. Please turn on your video.
Yes, ma'am. Just a second. Good morning, sir, ma'am, and all the students and my colleagues present here. My name is Firas Salman Khairi. I'm a student enrolled in this year's MBA Hospital Administration batch, thankfully. I completed my BSc Geology from AMU as well. I'm a semi-professional photographer and cinematographer. If or whenever have the time, I love playing and watching football, snooker, and I love traveling a lot.
That's all.
Uh, Pretty much.
We are supposed to talk about your strengths, your weaknesses, your achievements,
Alright, so
then your career aspirations.
okay. So I aspire to come. First of all, I aspire to complete my course from my MBA from AMU, of course, and then I my strengths include I have a good command of the English language. I'm a fluent speaker. I'm a quick learner. I'm enthusiastic in learning because I take interest in uh, the specific topics that we discuss in MBA, especially.
And your career aspiration is to complete your MBA. That's all.
Also, of course not. I want to establish a business of mine, and that's mainly why I have stepped into the MBA field, so that I can so that I can have a of management aspect as well. I could add to my domain.
Do you have some previous background of business?
Sorry.
Do you have some previous background of business?
Um, I have a freelancing experience of being a photographer, but not actually as a business.
Can you share a bit about your family background?
About my
Family background.
my father is my father was also an MBA, and he was in the actually in Dubai for the last 35 years, and my mother is a school teacher in Aisha Tareen.
Okay. Zareen ma'am, can you check is Saurabh there?
So Saurabh has not joined and
So in that
Farhan as
case,
well.
we move on to Talim
जी
ji
sir, बिल्कुल.
and have the recap.
जी sir. Talim, please start the
Yes.
recap. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. Ma'am,
Very good.
shall I present the PPT?
Yes,
Sure.
please.
Okay, sir. Is the PPT visible, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So, good morning, everyone. I am Tarim Khan, going to present a recap of previous class. In the previous class, while giving feedback, uh, sir has discussed how powerful words are using their synonyms and more appropriate words. Uh, one can make a sentence more expressive by giving beautiful example of how long it took for one from getting maharat to kudrat over the language. That is, same word command was used for different aspects. Then the discussion took place about whether planning is important or not, as it was discussed that planning has few plus points, that it gives sense of direction, it helps to control things better, and moreover it gives one focus to focus over the task which one is practicing. Uh, then its counter can be argued that planning creates rigidity. That is, one cannot go beyond it if change is required timely, as it can be seen, as Sir has told us that the companies who are making to the list of top 20 firms in 2000 could not sustain their position in the list in 2020. And sometimes this rigidity of planning proves as a bone of contention in some family businesses. Relating to that, we have listened to Sir's life events in the light of planning, and the lesson we drew out of it was that indeed planning is essential whenever idea of any task is conceived. Planning is essential whenever idea of something is conceived for the task, but one need not to be staunchly stick to the plan. Rather, sometimes it should be framed according to the demand driven that we will discuss later on, or we can say कि sometimes हमको वक्त का तकाजा समझना चाहिए कि वक्त का तकाजा क्या है. That came into picture. or taking external factors into consideration. Okay. So then Sir has discussed about Mintzberg theory, that we have intentions, some are specific, some are broad, and often these intentions are shaped by two features, external and internal. The internal one is one's own personality, and the external one are shaped by our surroundings, our environment, which Mintzberg call it as intended strategy. And then we have deliberate strategy, somewhat similar to intended strategy. Then realized strategy, which is something combination of originally what we thought of and what happened to us. We can maybe we can call it as circumstantial. Then we have this emergent strategy, which is action driven over a long period of time. Further, we have two classifications: strategy as a plan and strategy as a pattern. Strategy as a plan, in a nutshell, is matching internal capabilities with external possibilities, as it was in the case of intended strategy. Then strategy as a plan, it was also argued by Mintzberg that strategy is crafted or it got evolves over a period of time. He compared this to pottery making, saying if managers are craftsmen, then strategy is their clay. This can be stated as formulation and implementation are merged to form this theory, this strategy as a plan. And they are no two different entity, this formulation and implementation. And these are consistent in nature. Then there was this famous quote was Sir has quoted uh, that uh, I can say it in my words. I forgot that. Uh, the gist was that do what you like or like what you do. And after all this we have discussed in the class, what I found in a form of couplet about Mintzberg was that समझते हैं हम अगर सब अलामतें उसकी समझते हैं हम अगर सब अलामतें उसकी तो फिर वो भी हमारी तरह ही सोचता होगा. थैंक यू एवरीवन. थैंक यू.
Okay, now my comment on the speakers, starting with Umar, who is basically a science graduate from Rohilkhand University, and he seems to have a very consistent and very credible career plan, especially linking his family background with his career aspirations. And his career aspirations are also very, very noble, I would say. And in fact, we have a saying that this world has too many walls and we need bridges. So
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
he wants to be a bridge between the manufacturer and the market. So that's a very, very good career aspiration, and that can impact the entire region. So if we have a career aspiration which goes beyond our nose, that is I would call a very good career aspiration. And you have been a football player, so that also is something which is good. But maybe for for realizing this career aspiration, one of the things which will come handy is your command over language. So presently you have reasonably good working command over language, but you need to polish it further, especially work on the flow. Okay?
Yes, sir.
And that will help you realize your career aspirations also. But overall, it was a good introduction. Now, for us, Salman Khairi, who is into many things, especially pursuing hobbies, that is professional photography. But many of the strengths which you talked about, I mean, you were not, I don't know whether you were able to leverage all those strengths. So, having a strength and leveraging them are two different things. For example, you say you shared that you are a enthusiastic person, but I could not uh, get that sense of enthusiasm while you were making presentation. In fact, you required prompting from my side number of occasions. So to me, it appeared as if you are not 100% into it. So right now, also your video is switched off, which indicates a kind of maybe even a discourtesy if I'm talking to you specifically. So it is good to have strengths, but learn to leverage. That is why we say it about creativity also. Creativity is 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. So the kind of effort that we put in, and I have seen in life many people who had great strengths, but they were not able to leverage it to their advantage. So ultimately, it boils down to the hard work that we put in for a job. If there is an assignment and if we have a written text ready or if we have thought through special key points that we would say, but if we think that we have good communication skills and we'll do something over there, somehow it doesn't happen. Even to me, it doesn't happen if I uh, come to class just like that. I've taught this subject for last 30 odd years, but even today I had to have a relook at the content which I'm going to cover. So what appears as flawless performance is not achieved just like that. It is achieved through hard work, and that is what I would wish that you carry this idea home. Now, coming to this recap presentation by Talim, I think he did a reasonably good job in terms of covering the content in a very natural conversation kind of mode. So that is a good thing. But perhaps, Talim, you need to work a bit more on your flow of delivery. It was moving in a
Yes, sir.
hearty. So try to smoothen your delivery. Maybe a few rehearsals before the presentation would help you improve on that. And
Fine, sir. Sir, sir, actually, this is problem. I mean, problem in the sense that uh, I was residing in a liquor for more than 7 years, and what I am kind of communication skills that I developed there, and the flow now is quite smooth on, because in our this Western UP part, you also belong. You said from Bijnor. In particularly from Saharpur, we have this Latmar Bhasha kind of concept here. Yeah, if we will try to speak smoothly, then also this problem arises. I am working upon it, sir. I am working upon it.
And we all have this what we call nature and nurture debate. We have some basic qualities, but ultimately what matters is how do we nurture those qualities. And actually rising beyond our circumstances is what is maturity. Sometimes we can put the blame on our circumstances, but can we get away with that? As they say in life, we either have reasons or results. Nobody is bothered about reasons. I come from Bijnor, I come from Saharanpur. This is my background. Here and now, what we are, that is what matters.
Sure, sir. I'll work upon that, sir.
Yes.
Sure.
There's a, I don't know whether I have shared this couplet, but this is one of my favorite couplets. मेरे हाथों की लकीरों के इजाफे हैं गवाह. इजाफे is extensions. मेरे हाथों की लकीरों के इजाफे हैं गवाह. मैंने पत्थर की तरह खुद को तराशा है बहुत. So this tarash kharash is our own responsibility. Nobody else will do it for us. Only we can do it to ourselves. Okay? So it is good that you have groomed yourself, reached to this stage, but excellence is not a destination. It is a journey. It never ends. So keep asking this question to yourself, how you are better than what you were the previous day. So I'm not saying that you have not developed, but the point is, can it end at any point of time? Okay? So keep thinking what else you can do to work on your flow. Keep thinking as to, I think ultimately at this stage it boils down to the quality of our interaction with the language, either through reading or through listening. That helps us develop through this flow. Primarily reading. Focus on the quality of reading and it will improve.
Sure, sir. Sure. Thank you, sir.
So now let me talk about the issue which we wanted to discuss today, because in the second unit we have a topic uh, called decision making. And because many the presumption is, you may ask why decision making should be included in the planning, in the unit earmarked for planning. So can you find out the reason why it might be so that we cover planning, we cover decision making as a topic under the unit planning?
So I believe that ultimately planning is that process which is actually leading us to certain decision. So if we'll have a goal in our mind which for which we have to take a decision, then accordingly we'll make a plan according to that, right? So I think that is the reason.
But please note this thing. Yes, there are many decisions which we take at the stage of planning, but that doesn't mean that other stages of management process, they do not require decision making. Like for example, when you talk about organizing, for example, you have to take a staffing decision whether to, like I mentioned about this venture which we are rearing in the department. So we are called upon to make a decision whether as full-time faculty members, how long we can continue with this. And we may have to hire an external professional, an external person to carry this task forward, isn't it? So at which stage you need to have a hired hand to support your operation. Now, this is a decision which we have to take. Likewise, you will be called upon to take decisions in the leading stage also. For example, if you have hired a person, how do you incentivize him? How do you motivate him? How do you help him understand your cause so that he also is aligned mentally to your cause? So we have to take decisions at all stages of management process, but most of the crucial decisions that we take are at the stage of planning. Like for example, you have taken a decision to get into MBA. Now you must be contemplating, like for example, if somebody has done a BWalk course, the person had the option to do MWalk in that, but you had an option to go for MBA also. So now that you have taken a decision to get into MBA, this becomes an irreversible decision. So that is why we are discussing this topic of decision making under the head plan, because most of the irreversible decisions we take at the planning stage. So now let me elaborate another aspect also of decision making, and that is there are certain decisions which are very crucial. Like again, continuing with this example of your career decision, and that is you have opted for this course, MBA. But in addition to that, we take many decisions. Like for example, some of you took this decision to attend the classes, but some of you decided to stay away from the class. That also is a decision. But I understand you will appreciate that these two, the impact of some decisions is very long term, but impact of some other decisions may not be that long term. So in business parlance, we call first category of decisions as non-program decisions, and some decisions as program decisions. So decisions which are routine, which are repeated over a period of time, repetitive decisions. And many a times business is called upon to take such repetitive decisions. For example, each year university decides when to advertise. Generally, there is a pattern. Leave aside this pandemic part. In fact, there is a schedule. So those decisions are taken on the basis of certain standard operating procedures. But decisions like this, non-program decisions, how do we take those decisions? They require judgment. They require intuition. They require creativity. So after doing your MBA, what you want to do, whether you want to get into, for example, a formal corporate kind of job, or you want to start your own business. Now that's a non-program decision. So university decides to, let us say, open a dental college. That's a non-program decision. But university issuing an ad for a vacant position in a department, that's a program decision. Isn't it? So this distinction also we have to keep in mind. The third thing which I want to highlight in this regard is, when do we take a decision? Just now Talim talked about internal and external. We generally take decisions when we have a problem at hand, or when there is an opportunity before us. Now again, reflect on your decision to get into MBA. Was it a problem or an opportunity? Were you faced with a problem or was it an opportunity?
Sir, opportunity.
It was an opportunity. But if you look at it the other way around, like for example, we had uh, a student. I asked him why you came into MBA. He said actually I always wanted to be into engineering, but I could not make it, so I did my BSc in computers and then went for MBA. So he was faced with a problem that he was not successful in his career as per his definition of success. And then to overcome that problem, maybe people his near ones and dear ones, they had misgivings about his capabilities. So he was sort of apprehensive, and then he took this decision, and finally he could make it. So what is problem? Problem is generally a roadblock. So, for example, we are faced with pandemic. It's a problem or an opportunity.
So it can be both.
Okay, it can be both.
Yes, it's a blend of both, as Arma said. It's a blend of things.
Like, sir, even if we talk about our decision about MBA, it can be both in certain cases.
Okay. Actually, in a way, you are right. Because problems are actually opportunities in disguise. They're not visible. I remember, in fact, I was not a witness to it, but it happened just before I joined this university in 1980. We had a vice chancellor and there was an agitation, agitations are part of university's life. So the students sat on dharna in front of VC lodge. So it was a problem for the VC naturally. What happened that generally, in this when people organize such dharna, there is a peak time, so a lot of students are there. And when it is midnight, past midnight, only the diehard they stay, rest, leave. So there were very few people in the camp, and they had almost they were ready to sleep. In fact, some of them have slept. Now, no one knows what happened, but at some point of time in the late night, the vice chancellor came to the dharma site, and he also slept along with the students. So when the students got up, I mean, they were amazed and surprised. The vice chancellor is also sitting, is sleeping beside. So then they were, taken aback, but they were pleasantly surprised also. And vice chancellor said, okay, yes, I could not sleep in my lodge, and I realized that my students are outside. So how can I sleep in the comfort of my lodge? And so when I could not sleep, I came out and I thought I'll sleep with my students. And that, turned the entire agitation. The agitation fizzled out. And he said, let's come and have breakfast together. And he invited them in the lodge and all that. And then, so what was actually a problem was converted into an opportunity to build rapport with the students. So this Arma has noted very rightly that actually these are two faces of the same coin. It is our own mindset which looks at a situation as a problem situation or a situation as an opportunity. But theoretically, academically, you do make a distinction that problem is a roadblock. It creates a barrier between our achievement of the desired goal, and opportunity is an occasion to go beyond our desired goals. So, yes, this also is a fact that actually it's a way of looking at things. And if we, for example, if we miss too many opportunities that we get in life, then it will become a problem, isn't it? So actually, these are two faces of the same coin. You are very right. Now, how do we take decisions? Again, there are different uh, mindsets through which we take decisions. One I would call a rational mindset, very rational mindset. For example, the theory which recommends that we take decisions rationally. For example, if you have this issue of taking a wise decision as to which MBA I should opt for, the rational model would suggest that you explore all the alternatives. For example, there may be n number of MBA programs being offered in the university in the uh, country. Why country? Maybe in the international context, if you can think beyond the national boundary. So you explore all the alternatives. This is what rational model would say, and then you weigh those alternatives, and then you decide, choose one of the alternatives, and finally implement that decision. So this is the logical way of arriving at decisions. First, for example, you may decide on some premises, some decision premises. For example, you may say, for example, stated that international, I'm not trying. I'm only trying national options. So you then do away with all the international options. You have set your premise as national context. But then within that also you can have some kind of a specification. You can set your own premise. You can say, my family situation doesn't allow me to, let us say, explore options which require me to pay heavy fees. So I'm looking for options which are value for money kind of options. My family cannot afford, let us say, 5 lakhs per annum as tuition, for example. So then you have limited your options to maybe options that are available in the governmental sector. So we keep on deciding our premises, planning premises or decision making premises. And then after we have set our decision premises, then we explore options. So you may say, okay, I'll go only for university management department because they are affordable to me. So we have to decide whether the options we are considering, they are affordable, they are feasible. Now we have got the options. How do we evaluate those options? We have to search for relevant information, isn't it? Like for example, if you are contemplating two options, let us say you have zeroed in on two options, university management departments, and in that I'll explore, let us say, AMU, and I also explore FMS Delhi. These are the two choices. Now you need to have relevant information. Relevant information would mean, for example, you may try to find out the quality of the faculty at, let us say, three options that you are considering. CMS Jamia, FMS Delhi, and AMU. So what is the quality of faculty available? What is the placement track record of these institutions? So all relevant information which may have a bearing on the decision, yes, fees of these institutions, for example. So you collect relevant information, and then based on that information you evaluate, you judge various options, and finally you make a choice, the best option as per your decision criteria, and finally you implement. This is rational model of decision. But there are challenges to this model, and I'm coining a term. Let us call them not so rational model of decision making. Decisions which are, taken through mostly, let us say, intuition, through judgment, some kind of judgment. So what is this model which we are talking about? In fact, this has been proposed by a person called Herbert Simon, who said that objective, this rational model, it sounds very good on a piece of paper, but people don't take decisions like this. Actually, they resort to satisficing. He used the term satisficing. What is satisficing? It is a combination of two words: sufficient satisfaction. So we go for an option which gives us sufficient satisfaction. So we all try to be rational, but we can't be fully rational. Why? Because of many things. One, for example, gathering, you need information. Do we ever get all the relevant information? Second, even if we gather information, for example, you want to assess the quality of faculty in CMS Jamia, for example, or quality of faculty in FMS Delhi. You can have a look at the website, and you can get the list of the faculty members. You can have an idea about their educational qualification. You can get an idea about their experience. But can you get an idea about their commitment to teaching? Their commitment to students' personality development? So what happens is that even if we gather all the relevant information, can you actually make out what is the worth of the faculty from the published matter which is made available? At this stage, when you are already, you are not yet into MBA, how can you make a judgment about the contribution that that faculty has made, let us say, in a very technical area of operations research? So one, we always operate with limited information. Second, our ability to process that information is also limited. And third, even if we have information and we have ability also to process that information, do we ever get sufficient time to evaluate all that information? पता चला इसी सर्च में एक साल गुजर गया तो एक साल कैरियर का वैसे ही लॉस हो जाएगा. Isn't it? Gathering information about all the relevant management institutions where we can get into. So because of that, Simon said that we follow a model which he calls bounded rationality model. Rationality is there, but it is bounded by these three constraints which I just now described: our ability to gather information and our ability to process that, and the time available to take that. So that is the second model. The third model is called the heuristics model. What are heuristics? Heuristics are our thumb rules, which we evolve over a period of time. It's a model which says that experience, the intuition that you develop based on that experience, actually help you decide things. These are your heuristics. So what are our thumb rules? What shapes our thumb rules? One is the experiences of life. We all have past experiences. Sometimes we have good experiences, sometimes we have bad experiences. Sometimes the experiences are recent, sometimes recent experiences are vivid. So what guides our heuristics is our recentness of the experience. जैसे मैं आपको बताऊं कि साहब गुजरात में अर्थक्वेक आया 2002 में, उसके बाद सारी बिल्डिंग्स जो है वो अलीगढ़ में जो क्लेम करती थी कि साहब वी आर अर्थक्वेक रेजिस्टेंट, so all of a sudden people started paying too heavy emphasis on having earthquake resistant buildings. So when there is a recent experience, it shapes to guide our decision. लेकिन कुछ experiences होते हैं बड़े vivid experience होते हैं. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल हमने तो उस जनरेशन को देखा या जरूर होगा जिसने पार्टीशन को विटनेस किया. तो जो पार्टीशन का ट्रॉमा जिसने विटनेस किया, अपनी आंख से देखा है, आज भी जैसे मैं अपनी अम्मी, हालांकि शी वाज वेरी यंग एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, लेकिन वो जब एक्सपीरियंसेस को बयान करती है तो बहुत लगता है कि आज भी वो उससे उभर नहीं पाई कि कैसे उनका नाना का घर पूरा जो है वो ऑक्युपाई कर लिया गया था और किस तरह से घर की एक खादमा जो थी वो जो भी सामान बचा के वहां से ला सकती थी लाई थी. तो people who have experienced partition, for them it was a vivid experience and it continues to shape their intuition and decision making. So we have run out of time. Maybe this is something which requires some more elaboration. So when we meet next, we will talk a bit about heuristics more, and then we will start the fresh topic. Maybe I'll require 5 more minutes to finish my discussion on heuristics. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
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 Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.